Welcome, everybody, to Mud Flood Was Armageddon. Mud Flood was Armageddon. Don't let them tell you anything else unless they are willing to debate you in a fair and honest way. Randy, we're looking for people to debate us in a fair and honest way.
Yeah, good luck with that, huh?
Well, you know what we're asking for is that when we prove our point, don't beat us up, either bullying us online
Don't
or
shoot the messenger.
right, like that one guy that does the football. They're cheating in football. He used to be a big flat Earth guy, Jake the asshole. He was going to drive from Las Vegas to Colorado and beat me up one time. And I go like, dude,
Oh,
don't do it. It
is
would
it
not
worth
be
the effort? Yeah.
wouldn't be healthy for him anyway. Hey, we got to look at a couple of pictures. I showed you the one. What in the world going on here, man? That's the thumbnail. Dang, I don't even need that one. I got this one. The it does look like a propeller, but one end, every of the six, three of them are roughed up and three of them are smooth. We've got the swirls going over here. This is a magnified view, no doubt. So don't have much things. I did check the. There's your friend Randy floating in
Yeah.
space.
Winkman. Yeah.
And I did check the weather. It's raining in Los Angeles as of right now, as we speak. The rain of the atmospheric river of one of God's judgments and punishments is it's
The
on the
sky
way.
is falling.
The sky is falling. You ever hear of these guys? The what is
Uh,
what is this?
or,
Rinse or Orince or the Rinse? But this is the thing here, Randy. We got something. I know I'm going to get to the Daniel and the Abomination of Desolation because I got a real friendly comment guy a couple of days in a row. He goes like, "Why are you talking about 1711 and 2046 like they're
so you're
important?"
saying these are not a pair of earrings or nose rings or
No, no,
whatever.
these go around your neck. These fit around your neck, Randy. These are
Oh, so they look smaller than, yeah, as far
yeah,
as
yeah.
something.
These are like earring type situations, but these are what they're holding in their hands when they're like working with those pine cones. They got a
Oh,
pine cone
yeah,
in
yeah.
one hand,
Okay.
and then they have this in their lower hand, pointing it at the tree of life. And that remember all those?
Okay.
You got to come weird stuff. Yeah, these go on their neck, man. These weigh over a kilo. Some of them do. That's over.
Oh,
Yeah, that's over 2 pounds, man, of copper and gold neck rings.
sure.
Like those neck rings. Maybe those girls were elongating their neck
Oh,
to get power. Power, power,
what?
wonder working
She's
power.
stretching her neck from her shoulders up. Is that what?
She wanted to make her neck like that black girl in the Song of Solomon, your neck is like an ivory tower. And there
And
you
then
go.
every couple of weeks you add another ring to give it a little more.
If you got the money. So this is another one.
It looks like yeah, some sort of
It,
braided
it does. It
cable.
does. It does. It looks like the ends of these are meant to shoot off freaking sparks or at least something. At
Well, it's
least
like a braided cable that you could either bolt the ends together, or, do something creative somehow. But yeah, it's jewelry or some sort of
yeah, okay. And
fashion
it's like how are you going to
statement.
fit this around your neck? Well, I guess you just brute force. You just pull it and then you push it back around your neck, and you go like, "How do you like me
But
now?"
but it's a braided twist.
Yeah. This
The
one is.
cable. Yeah.
This one is kind of like the
For snaking out drains. That
BMX, yeah, or BMX, conduit where the wires on the
yeah,
inside or something. Isn't that
Yeah.
BMX? I know that conduit wire looks the
Yep.
same.
Yeah. Similar. Yeah.
There's your fused buffer type muff. I got to keep this rolling because I got school today. Now this one appeals to me. I would wear that.
It's
This
chubbier in the middle
I
in the
like it
sun.
though. I like it. It's got
It
this.
bends
See
and
this part right here? I think
tapers.
that's pretty cool.
Yes,
Yeah,
it's
I would choose this one.
interesting. Yeah,
Yeah, that's Paco's. If you guys
interesting.
find one archaeology, I got about $50 I'll give you for one if you find it.
Oh, here the ends. Yeah, they taper and then they're either curled or twisted tight or something, or
Reminds me
into
of
like an eyelet.
the alpha and omega, the letters. It has that kind of rounded, not as long extensions here, but the same idea of the omega.
Oh, it's terminated. Oh, little clip
I
eyelet.
guess I don't know. That's like not nearly as cool as the one I like.
Or in as good as condition. It looks like it's really thin and it was chipped there and then
Looks like
across the way.
yeah, it might have got too much
The,
electricity
the
run through it.
views with from something.
Brrr, zippity doo dah. So
Chariot race.
that's how the if you get shot in battle, like we read the other day for the poor King Josiah, this is what you lay down on and go, "Take me out! I am wounded." And the drivers, they're like, "Dang, this is the last thing."
Or the eunuch when he was, why can't I be baptized?
I imagine that eunuch had a much fancier chariot than a war chariot. Got a little bit of turquoise thrown in there for some what other these other stones are. I'm thinking resistors, capacitors. We're acting like we're doing a night show, Randy.
Yeah, it looks like there's more
We got to
missing
move it
than there.
on. Everybody gets the idea. They're here because this is not a clickbait thing. We're going to be picking the famous Randy from Wisconsin's brain on one of the hardest eschatology topics to hit since
But
Satan's been loose. That's just a
there,
bundle of sparks waiting to happen right there.
well, and some serious detailing also.
Yes, it is. What is this? This is a hoard, Randy. They found this this is called the Sterling Hoard. One guy found a bunch of these there in, believe it or not, in England, I believe.
Some sort of what, like a macaroni? What do you call them? Twisted up macaroni. Uh,
Some of my earliest art was done with Elmer's glue and macaroni, and look at what you know. Thank you, Lord, for all of the macaroni teachers out there. I'm still digging the one that I chose, but this is number 2 for me. I like it. I just think it is cool.
yeah,
You know.
looks like a shard from a drilly. Where
And did
it's
some of these that used to be bracelets for the Titans or the larger Nephilim
okay.
end up being necklaces for the other people? Who knows? Hey, this reminds me of the top of that one helmet. Are those baby faces? Wow. They must have had really good eyes. I mean, for all this
Uh,
detail.
yeah, the
Sterling
jeweler had some
quartz.
talent.
They're made up from a hoard of 4 gold Iron Age torques. That's what they either held in their hand as a bracelet or a necklace, depending on your body type. Before I got into and noticed the question that was posted early in the morning from who knows where about the abomination of desolation, we'll look into it. I was looking at this and just blown away. Thus, the tablet can be interpreted as giving a sequence of worked out exercises. It makes use of mathematical method typical of scribal schools of the time. It is written in a document format used by administrators of that period. What am I talking about? About this repetitive mathematical setup of the tablet that just corresponds with BM 80209. That would have been useful enough, but it was just
Is that
common
a zip code
usage.
or what?
That is not a zip code, but you know how I wake up in the morning, it's like, oh Lord, yay, let's do something. So I got like on the computer before I found this Abomination Desolation question. I was like into whatever, you know. So I saw this thing about this Plimpton 322, and I'm there like, I'm on it, man. Look at that. I have no idea. That to me would just, what do we call that? Chicken scratch?
Yeah, I can't
Yeah,
interpret it. I have no
yeah,
idea.
yeah. I kind of have a vague idea about the, you know, Pythagorean triplets,
Oh, the 3,
Pythagoras.
4, 5, yeah, 90
Yeah, yeah.
degree,
I've tried to, I explain it and we go over it and
and it works every time,
every
regardless, as long
freaking
as it's
time,
a
right? Yeah.
yeah.
And every single time, I get the whole, why are you wasting my time? This is stupid. It's not stupid. It's fun. Uh,
Well, it's simple and handy and very useful,
yeah,
actually.
man. Yeah, right. Because, I mean, it's better than showing all your work and all of that useless nonsense. I mean, I know I'm down on showing your work, but as soon as I got done with my math in high school, next math I knew, I documented, man. I said, how they have those documented records that can go back, and I've had one documented class in math from high school and above, and it was algebra with a Mr. Philip Crane. And the next time I took a math test, it was to join the army to go save the world from the Iranian. They were taking hostages under President Carter. That made me mad because President Carter wanted to legalize marijuana, and so did I. And then
And
the
then it
rest,
never happened.
yeah, the rest is history. I took this test to join the army, and they told me, dude, you want to be a surveyor? You're like one of the smartest guys that's applied this year. And I said, do I
What
get
does
a
it pay?
I'm there like, what's the bonus? Because I was looking at bonuses to, because they were giving bonuses to join. And I said,
Incentive, yeah.
yeah, so like, okay. They go like, well, there's not a bonus for this, but if you're a surveyor, that's a really good job. You don't have to be around the cannons. It's this and that. You just work with math. And I'm there like, didn't seem that hard. I could have taken more math, but at the time, you talk about a high school nerd who was on the wrestling team that took every single English class that was offered in high school. Didn't want to go to trade school, didn't go to college route. I just wanted to take English classes. It was fun. Uh, so anyway, took the thing, got in the survey, and don't and the rest look back. And when things like this is how I learned, was
Well,
tablets.
yeah, the thing
It was
is, if you're gifted, smart, whatever, you can make something look easy when technically it isn't.
I
It
think
isn't easy.
so. I think
But if
so.
you're gifted, in
Or if you're
whatever,
gifted to write you see, because I was asking a lot of questions off the bat in freshman algebra, and eventually it was too disruptive. So they just gave me a book that was written in the 1930s, learn math or something like that, a self-paced book. So, and it reminded me of these because these were just, they would just show you the thing of how it works. And they were used in base 60, the power of 60 is so good. And
yeah,
it works so good. They leave out the zero, which is the death to the binary code. But Anybody could have done it in my class. If they would have all been better if they would have used the book that Mr. Crane gave to me. And we just went over it together instead of what they were doing, because by halfway through the class, when I figured out that I was at least keeping up with them, was Phil Crane would like to give examples to the class, and I would listen to some of his lectures, and stuff like that when he was just talking. And one of them was a man had 9 fake pearls, or he thought they were all real or all fake. It doesn't matter. He had to either establish either the real pearl or the fake pearl, and he had a balance scale and he could only use it 2 times. And he kept laying it out for them for 20 minutes. I finally raised my hand and said, you take 6 pearls, you put 3 on each side of the balance scale. And he goes, you got it. Because once you do that, if one side is heavier, you know you have it in that group. If they weigh the same, you know either the fake or real pearl is in that other group of 3. So you have to just find out which one is the different weight out of those next 2 by process of elimination. And the fact that what he was teaching them, not one of the people could get off of going like, well, first you take 2 on one side, 2 on the other, and that was never
No.
going never going to work. And so looking at that, we'll look at Matthew 24:15. When you see the abomination of desolation spoken of by the prophet Daniel standing in the holy place, that's pretty darn specific. Let the reader understand. All right. So there's always going to be readers of this prophecy. Though readers at that time were well advised that when they saw the abomination of desolation, they had one, hey, flee to the mountains.
And and it was previously spoken about, it's very uh specific.
Yeah, okay. So, RJ, you're reading the Bible for the 100th time. You're a reader and you need to understand. You ask
Sure.
around, where's this holy place? It's gone. Not one stone's left on top of another. Oh, okay. Well, that leaves you to something to understand as a reader. These guys must have fled to the catacombs. They must have run away.
Yeah,
And
the fortunate ones,
yeah,
made it.
the ones that listened to Jesus Christ, and he said, "Hey, what's going on?" Because this is definitely in verse 2. Jesus, you know how if you're one of those people at a dinner party that I love to hang out with, where they can like shape the conversation, they just do it so deftly. Jesus just brings it up. Hey, you see all those beautiful buildings, do you not? Truly I say you, there will not be one stone upon another that will not be thrown down. That's a conversation starter, as they like to phrase that type of a thing.
And
Wow.
some of them stones were pretty hefty to be
Yeah, they
yeah,
were.
moving. Yeah.
45 years building this. What are you talking about? So obviously, tell us when these things will be. Well, there's going to be many people led astray, wars, rumors of wars, nations rise against nation, kingdom against nation, nation against nation. Everything just blowing up. Lawlessness is going to be increased. Oh no, love of many will wax cold. And then the bomb. When you see this, run for the hills. Be like those guys from Monty Python when the killer rabbit just took out half their crew and the guy said, "Run away! Run away!" That was his order. Run away. That's what they're doing. Run to the mountains. Unfortunately, the wheats and the tares got tangled up somehow. You want to take the how'd that happen, Randy?
Well, it's even that's a slow process, but yeah, it does over time. If you're patient, it's going to happen.
And if you're a wolf hanging out with sheep and Jesus is, everybody else is into the whole rod of iron and trying to please him, I think you're going to try to fit in. You're not just going to come out right out with your wolfiness. You're going to try to twist it slow and steady. So we got this definite warning. Here's the understand reader. Are you one of those people that are in Jerusalem? No, you're not. You're reading later. So where is Jerusalem? Wow, not one stone was going to be left on top of another. A big judgment was coming. Worst time ever in America. When they talk
So,
about
okay, I have just a comment here. Just scroll up a little bit in the parentheses because where this is a quotation from Jesus, the parentheses probably isn't in that quote. But I'm speculating. I think that's
right,
the
so
author.
maybe that shouldn't be in red.
That's what I'm.
Yes, and you're
That's
probably
just my.
yeah, I like it. Tribes are going to mourn, Son of Man coming in the power and glory, angels loud trumpet. You don't have to know the day and the hour when you know the people you're trusting are saying it's very soon. An hour that you don't expect it. Be a wise servant. Okay, so from the time the abomination, the regular burnt offering is taken away, and the abomination that makes desolate is set up, there shall be 1,290 days. Blessed is he who waits and arrives. 45 days/years later, Daniel, go your way to the end. It's been sealed up. You don't understand what you just wrote, and he never will, but he's going to stand and rest at his allotted place in the end of days. We'll go over these quickly for a thing. In verse 7, fourth beast, kingdom rise against other kingdoms. Different than the other one, puts down three kings. He will speak words against the Most High. He shall wear out saints of the Most High, seeking to change the times and the law, times, half of times. We can come back to that later. Daniel 11:31. Forces from him shall appear and profane the temple and fortress, Star Fort City, Jerusalem, and shall take away the regular burnt offering, and they shall set up the abomination that makes desolate. Okay, he did. Daniel, what is going on? The vision of the evenings and the mornings that has been told is true, but seal up the vision, for it refers to many days from now. All right, this is a context driven thing here, but for that example, yes, we want to pay attention to the, not only is it in, I think, verse 26, it's also in 14, evenings and mornings. Now that is not a day/year prophecy. These are how you separate those. It's something Ellen White and her Seventh Day Adventist people should realize are not interchangeable, but they don't and they won't because, well, they're the bad guys. So we see the evening and the morning thing. Was it verse 26 in that evening and morning thing too here.
That's like
So,
a creation statement,
right.
in Genesis.
Yeah.
Similar, similar, yeah.
Right. It's just not the same as the, Ezekiel lay on your side 390 years for how many years? The
A
10,
day for each year,
yeah,
yeah.
the 10 lost tribes, and then 40 years. Jerusalem went even worse for those 40 years. See Ezekiel chapter 23, Aholah and Aholabah. But these are definitely like it's these type of prophecies without the morning and the evening thing. It's like the 40 years in the wilderness because the spies did it for 40 days, and guess what? Now you're gonna all die in the wilderness, and how long is it going to take? 40 years for the 40 days. And those are givens that we have to understand now. So there you get that, the time times and half a times. The hard part, the reason I was glad to see that you were here, Randy, is how did we tie it into 9/11? But it was just the biggest deal that ever happened, that was something that was such an obvious deception that the
Yeah,
whole world decided to agree on, that that's the date that changed everything, man.
yeah, as far as a whitewashing event, maybe there's something as significant, the moon landings were, a big,
I did them all. I did
right,
moon landings. It would be over. The 45 years would be
it
over.
right,
The only
I mean,
one that fit at the time was 9/11. What's now? Is COVID bigger? They want to push that as bigger than 9/11. I
well, there's probably
disagree.
more deaths,
No way. I
but
don't
that
know. But there's going to be all kinds of death, and there's going to be more deaths than 9/11 this weekend from the atmospheric rivers.
uh, it's,
Possibly.
when it comes to mysteries, but,
They're not going to announce how many people die in these atmospheric rivers this weekend, Randy. They have recently decided to throw everything out the window. The only time there's been a disaster in my lifetime where the death toll that was announced in the first few hours actually went down and not up in Lahaina. They got fires now
but
that just destroy the whole thing mysteriously and only killed 99 people.
well, it was only what, couple 3 months ago when that storm dipped down into, Mexico, and, that
That was a slow news cycle because nobody cares about Mexico.
but, and that's it was a fairly devastating, uh, natural event, uh, and this well, this like I say, you can't trust them, with what they're doing with the chemtrailing and manipulating, weather patterns. So,
Yeah, we don't even
but
know
yeah,
what they've done.
it's real. Yeah, whatever the cause is doesn't matter. It's real, and how everything shakes apart from it. You need to be patient and then reevaluate.
I
But yeah,
think that this guy QB is pretty much right on the money. Hey, Apaco, think it could be Tartaria Khan was the king of the north, and the Roman slash Greek slash Etruscan slash Byzantine Caesar was king of the south, and Tartary was the fallen away Asia. I think you have a pretty good argument there, QB. I like it.
something to consider.
Here's what I heard about these.
Bueno, ese momento cuando aparecen los anillos, evidentemente fue un momento muy emocionante y que pensamos en María porque fue la...
This is all part of that other great deception and stuff, man.
So was it a novel or was it real?
I don't know. I don't know how to even send somebody to send me a donation. Victoria knows. I've seen the timeline chart of Web Denuvi. Here's what we're talking about, man. This question here. Frank was to be falsified in order to eliminate references to Great Russian aggression. This is a high. So I showed that chart from Web Denuvi, and he liked it. He said was put out a couple of years ago, but would like the dates and their explanations. I've heard you say 1711 and 2046, but have no clue where you're getting them from. He's only curious.
Just curious.
Yeah. So we're getting them from Daniel that, something had to happen here. Take away the 1,000 years. We believe that cancels itself, speaking in math terms, because it coincided with the 1,000-year reign of Christ when he was loose. And I'm thinking 1711 in their Gregorian calendar, and the Julian calendar is just way too confusing to, it's probably why they dumped it also. But they 290 years. So I went through the major things, and the only one that fit and was terrible and got more terrible every time I studied it was September 11th, 9/11, the day they faked the, however, to whatever extent they brainwashed the world. You go back, that's 1711. You add the blessed are the people that find ourselves living in this situation, waking up, whether it's through the set up Ron Paul revolution or the set up flat earth movement, get these people towards Atlantis. There was always going to be a narrow road of people who want to be blessed by waiting another 45 days, not days and mornings. that was the worst, It was supposed to be like one of those British after you say something witty, and then, except I kind of like choked. I should have taken a drink before. Cut, take two, Even Frank Sinatra clears his throat, But I forgot. So that's basically it. I mean, and it's
Well,
not
yeah,
like, it's not like
there's
everything else didn't
disagreement.
fall in place. I mean, everything else fit after that. Then we're like, if that's true, the rocks must cry out. Let's cut some open and do some rock autopsies. And
Yeah, there's disagreement with the calendar, the birth of Christ versus the calendar beginning year of the Lord when he returned, but and that's 70-ish years discrepancy, you know. But yeah,
so what
it's
can we do? We don't know the Hebrew calendar or the Chinese calendar. I mean, I know their
the
Chinese
Maya.
New Year's is something,
Yeah,
but I'm pretty sure that if we worked their Maya calendar or whatever it was and we fit in 9/11 and backed it up, it still worked the same. Whatever calendar you use, we're working on a rough 365 days, so many years, and 45 after that. All the calendars agree about how long a year is within a couple seconds, right? I mean, a couple of nanoseconds. They got
yeah,
it down.
yeah, it's fairly consistent.
So that's pretty much that's the simple story. We got Daniel, we got Revelation. Let's look at a couple of those other things in Daniel that'll, I mean, Daniel chapter 9, Daniel chapter 11, they're, it's, they're crazy, man. And this Darius the Mede, this man was in his family was used by God over and over again, and that's why there were God-fearing Greeks at the time of Jesus that were footing the bill, you know, and all the people were being drawn to this light was because this guy who was of the Medes and stuff like that, and his relatives were saying, you know what? When I needed help, I called on these Hebrew people, and their God came through in the most miraculous way of all the gods. He must be the most high. So be advised, he's the most high. Something like that, right? I mean, even the same thing, same story with Esther, like, hey, thanks, Esther. Thanks, Mordecai, for not letting me get killed. The king.
Well, yeah, even Nebuchadnezzar
Yeah, King Xerxes was
proclaimed.
all about it. These guys, yeah, Nebuchadnezzar, Xerxes, Darius, Cyrus, they all ended up, through Daniel and his friends going like, this whole Yahweh thing he's just way better. It's way better. I'm going to just pick it up in verse 7. And from a branch from her roots, one shall arise in his place. He shall come against the army and enter the fortress of the king of the north, and he shall deal with them and shall prevail. He shall also carry off to Egypt their gods with their metal images and their precious vessels of silver and gold. That's really what it's about. Transfer of wealth. And for some years he shall refrain from attacking the king of the south. Then the latter shall come into the realm of the king of the south, but shall return to his own land. His son shall wage war and assemble a multitude of great forces, which shall keep coming and overflow and pass through, and again shall carry the war as far as his fortress. Then the king of the south, moved with rage, shall come out and fight against the king of the north. He shall raise a great multitude, but it shall be given into his hand. When the multitude is taken away, his heart will be exalted, and he shall cast down tens of thousands, but he shall not prevail. For the king of the north shall again raise a multitude greater than the first, and after some years he will come on with a great army and abundant supplies. Wow. Well mortified cities. You want to take this next paragraph, Randy, from 14 down to 18, 19?
Sure. In those times, many shall rise against the king of the south, and the violent among your own people shall lift themselves up in order to fulfill the vision, but they shall fail. Then the king of the north shall come and throw up siege works and take a well fortified city, and the forces of the south shall not stand, or even his best troops, for there shall be no strength to stand. But he who comes against him shall do as he wills, and none shall stand before him. And he shall stand in the glorious land with destruction in his hand. He shall set his face to come with the strength of his whole kingdom, and he shall bring terms of an agreement and perform them. He shall give him the daughter of women to destroy the kingdom, but
Wow.
it shall not stand or be to his advantage. Afterward, he shall turn his face to the coastlands and shall capture many of them. But a commander shall put an end to his insolence. Indeed, he shall turn his insolence back upon him. Then he shall turn his face back toward the fortress of his own land, but he shall stumble and fall and shall not be found.
Wow, I wonder who that was. Because whoever the Seventh day Adventists are putting out there with their added 1,000 years and their Ellen White, the prophetess, it's all baloney, but it's about
Well,
to
I
get.
know Beck has a as far as commentary with that Daniel, and it's a pretty extensive commentary.
It's probably worth hearing. Let's.
And I'll just show it to you quick. The
Tartarian Khazars.
Okay, he has this commentary here. Let's see. And let me get it higher. And I gotta get.
What page is it on?
On my Beck?
Yeah.
That one is on page 1033, and then there's another commentary on the next page, 1034. It's about half as large as what the other one I showed. So that's the second commentary. And the first commentary, if I can hold it up there, and I don't know if you can do screenshots and then.
Well, I've got my Becks out.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
So
but my pages aren't lining up because I have a newer edition than you.
Well, it would be at the Daniel chapter 11, and mine's on two different pages. But if you go to the Beck,
right, I have that on. Mine is it doesn't matter, but it's page 1105.
But he says this prophecy came true as follows. And then he lists it's numbered 2 through 10. And then on the second page, it's numbered 11 through 20 of explanation.
Yeah, go down to see number 11. Nope, that's all Ellen White BS. Continues. So is number 13. All ridiculousness. Same with they wanted to get Antiochus and put the abomination 110 years before the fall of Jerusalem. Which how would those sacrifices work then during the time of Jesus? The abomination of desolation renders all those sacrifices, they're not good. There's no temple. There's no once the holy place is defiled by a Greek human standing in there saying, I'm the God of this place, tear down this temple and give me its gold. That place is no longer blessed by God as a place for use for sacrificing. You have to build another temple, and somebody has to witness the God, the Spirit, filling that temple and saying, we're good to go. But that ship has sailed. So yeah, even Dr. Beck, would have to say that there's a veil being lifted now. And we know that Jesus said, look back to the book of Daniel. And the mainstream all of my life has been saying one thing: don't read the book of Revelation and the book of Daniel. And what the main takeaway is for that person who left that comment and everyone else who checks in on it is that once we went down that road, that's what led to the stones crying out. That's what led to Stellium 7 and the other people. And, the bones are body parts, but now they're this and that. And Randy, as we sit back, there's nothing else we can do and say, except we knew this was going to happen. There was only going to be a narrow road of people that accept Jesus Christ. They were going to take this new information, this new timeline, and try to fit it into, well, we're just some sort of post millennial thing. It's nothing like the post millennial thing. This is all brand new. The post millennial thing is a Jesuit setup. So we've had our work cut out for us, but I don't think we've been pushed off track. Do you?
Well, like the Bereans, you still have to match everything what's revealed in the Bible for
Right.
sure, uh, to maintain the focus. It isn't like by any means we thought, yeah, this is some sort of easy task.
Welcome, Tala. I saw some of your show last night a couple of different times as I was doing a show and in and out and more research. Appreciate you bearing your heart and bringing the heart out of other people. I saw some people confessing and renouncing the pornography and your call to repentance and things last night. I think was very, very timely, and just hope things are working out good for you up there in the north. I think you're about to get rained on. Maybe we can count on Tala to be our weatherman in the upper north now, because you got an atmospheric river heading your way, man.
Yeah, I don't know what Jimmy the groundhog is going to say about it tomorrow, but
That's
probably
tomorrow,
six
huh?
more, probably 6 more weeks of winter. Who knows?
Come on, man. We can't worry about that.
Yeah, it might even be closer to 7.
So that's some weird stuff, right?
Yep.
So we got that covered. We got the Abomination of Desolation covered. Last thing I want to cover, Randy, is how active should I get in this university's politics? You've talked to Joaquin. Excuse me. He helped me pass ceramics class and get a C. Yeah, I know I'm on an academic scholarship and I'm a great artist. I couldn't get that clay right. And without Joaquin and uh, Anna, I would not have passed, probably, much less gotten a C that kept me into the B plus grade.
Qualified.
Yeah,
Yeah.
my grade point average is still like almost a A. But anyway, they canceled his scholarship, and 30 other people who were on scholarship for this year, they were supposed to get $8,000 and they would do different helps. Like Joaquin uh, helps the cross country team by running their races, and they get points for their how fast they run the cross country course. I've never seen a cross country race except on the YouTube. But I figure taking away a scholarship is like breaking another treaty, because most of these people are not honky. So I want to try to talk Joaquin into, like, let's get some of these people. And tomorrow night at the university's basketball home game, we all take a knee. Go back a couple of years to the Colin
Like
Kaepernick take a knee thing and say, this is like a broken treaty. How are you supposed to let with everything else, there's money flying around, faking everything, borrowing debt on 30 trillion loans, and 30 people in this university are now going, where am I going to get that extra $4,000 they promised me?
well, yeah, when it comes to withdrawing an alleged commitment, that the school had put forth to those students that unless unless there's some sort of initial misunderstanding that they could apply for it, and then it may or may not be there. But yeah, it doesn't sound like that. Like there was a misunderstanding. It was uh,
That's
initially it was there,
$120,000.
and
Yeah.
now it isn't.
I'm
And
just running across too many times.
you'd have to
There
listen to
was an
their excuse.
article, because when you look up Adams State University, the first Pizzagate connected, Lolita Island connected, first woman feminist appointed president of this university, and then fired later after the school's on probation. Her attitude was called toxic,
And she was
caustic.
a dyke, right? Or
I don't.
maybe.
She was lesbian, I believe, or anything. One of those types, possibly. But they are just actually fired a woman from being a captain or one of the first female captains who rose up from being enlisted to captain of a ship. They fired her because she had a caustic, toxic attitude.
The Navy?
Yeah, man. I don't know I don't know how we got on this topic, but I'll bet
So what did
it's
that guy
still
that
up.
thinks he's a girl think about that? Wasn't he in the Navy?
She was picking on other women.
Well, no,
She was bullying. This captain was bullying the other women
no,
in
but
the
when the
Navy.
Babylon Bee gave that wasn't he in the Navy and Man of the Year award, and they got a bunch of slack for that. I mean, it's crazy, but it has to implode in on them. Their nonsense, eventually. But yeah, if she's being toxic attitude, I wouldn't argue that, uh, assessment of the individual, but again, what do I know?
You know what Donald Trump would have said? You're fired. There it is.
She still gets
Ooh, there it is. Oh yeah, they forced her to retire. And
yeah, but she still gets her retirement. It isn't like uh she's forfeiting anything with her behavior, or she's not going to be reprimanded that way. She just gets an early retirement. Bummer, huh?
former commanding officer of the cruiser Lake Erie fostered a hostile environment on the ship by tormenting basically the other female crew members because you know what, she didn't write up one enlisted person her whole command. She was just dogging the other officers and basically the other women. I'm thinking that she was probably looking for sexual favors, but that's just what they do in the movies, right? Toxic
Yeah,
command.
in many of the movies, yeah, maybe not all of them, but enough of them where, yeah, it's
It could be possible that Danny was identifying as a man and men in the Navy discriminate against other women. So this is a crazy story. I read a couple of these articles anyway, man. So anyway, I guess she grabbed this one guy by the collar, and because he answered a question that she was in her mind asking to somebody else. Was I talking to you? You're not the officer of the day. Don't ever interrupt me again. And then she karate chopped him to the throat. I'm just kidding.
mhm.
But there was frequent bullying by Danny. And it takes a little while to get into it, but then it does, it
So
turned
then
it.
who did the investigating where she was forced out, or how it was just that many witnesses, their word against hers, or I don't. if there was an actual trial or
No,
how.
it's just the investigation has proven that she has to retire, and darn it, you know what? I did that.
Good idea.
That didn't used to be a thing when I was in the military because honestly,
Well, they
uh,
force a resignation, right? More or
right,
less. You
profanity
know,
is a verb, a noun, an adverb, an adjective. I've even heard myself one time telling somebody, "Well, congratulations, big fucking deal." You know, and that's like that was my sentence, and it's like, wow, that was a noun and a pronoun and an adjective. It was just
where did
crazy.
that come from?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I got triggered online. So anyway,
Yeah. Strange things can happen. Yeah.
yeah, so that's where we're at, brother. Uh, about an hour. What do you say we let it go? I've got to get ready for
Yeah. I
9:30
got it.
class. You got to get to work.
Jackhammering. Yeah.
Yep.
Looking forward
So
to that.
everyone, there you go. That's how 9/11 became the thing, and the next big thing is going to be the storm this weekend. Watch out for 2038. Doesn't look good. It's still a flat Earth nation. The golden age is past. The mud flood was Armageddon. We're never going to tell you anything else. Why would we? We're trying to prove that we have your best interest at heart. Any final words, Randy?
Well, it's the beginning of a brand new month, and according to my calendar. So yeah, one down, 11 more to go of 24. But this could be a busy year for a number of different activities.
And I want everybody to
Yeah.
know it's going to be a busy weekend. We can already start praying for the people in California who are going to be flooded. The loss of property and life is going to be immense. Amen. Hallelujah. Aho. Aloha. Arriva dirty